The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. Those words brought with them 1,000 plot twists and created film's most legendary villain, a man so mysterious that people still debate whether he's real. Kaiser Söze not only fooled the characters in The Usual Suspects, he fooled an entire generation of moviegoers. I liked The Usual Suspects for its narrative deception that rewrote the rules of plot construction. Every line, every scene, every seemingly throwaway detail is part of an elaborate shell game designed to fool you completely. Right off the bat, screenwriter Christopher McQuarrie is playing games with us. The story starts at the end, with destruction, death, and questions. We're immediately thrown off balance, which is exactly where a good con artist wants their mark. Verbal gets dragged into the police station, where he spins an incredible yarn for customs agent Dave Kujan. He tells the story of how 5 criminals were thrown together in a police lineup 6 weeks earlier. Himself, Dean Keaton, Michael McManus, Fred Fenster, and Todd Hockney. The beautiful thing about this opening is that we think we're getting the truth, because Verbal seems like the least threatening person in the room. He's disabled, he's scared, and he's clearly the weak link. Our natural instinct is to trust the underdog, and the movie exploits that assumption ruthlessly. The lineup itself is legendary. 5 hardened criminals can't keep straight faces while reciting ridiculous dialogue, and their chemistry is immediately apparent. Kevin Pollak, Stephen Baldwin, Benicio del Toro, Gabriel Byrne, and Kevin Spacey each bring something unique to this dysfunctional criminal family. According to Verbal, the 5 men decide to work together on a truck hijacking. Their revenge against the NYPD for the bogus lineup. It's supposed to be simple. Steal some guy's taxi service, make some quick cash, go their separate ways. Except nothing is simple in this world. The taxi service turns out to be a front for corrupt cops smuggling drugs. Suddenly, our anti-heroes have stumbled into something much bigger and more dangerous than a simple robbery. Enter Dean Keaton, who's the supposedly reformed ex-cop trying to go straight. Gabriel Byrne plays him with just the right mix of world weariness and hidden steel. Keaton becomes the reluctant leader of this group, the one trying to keep everyone focused and alive. How the film establishes the group dynamics is impressive. McManus is the loose cannon, Fenster is the wild card with the incomprehensible accent, Hockney is the demolitions expert with anger management issues, and Verbal is the planner who nobody takes seriously. Everything feels authentic, lived in, real. These feel like actual criminals with actual histories and actual grudges. That authenticity is vital because it makes us invest in their story, which makes the eventual revelation even more devastating. Just when things seem manageable, the group gets a visit from Kobayashi, a mysterious lawyer who claims to represent an even more mysterious employer. And then The Usual Suspects shifts into high gear and never looks back. Kobayashi informs them that they've unknowingly been working for Kaiser Söze their entire careers. They owe him money, and there's only one way to pay it back. An apparently impossible job involving a ship, a briefcase, and enough cocaine to supply a small army. Now, let's talk about Kaiser Söze for a moment. He's the criminal world's version of the boogeyman, a figure so mythical that people aren't sure he exists. Some say he's Turkish, others say he's German, some say his name means verbal in Turkish, but honestly, nobody knows for certain. The story of Söze's origin is absolutely chilling, how he became a criminal mastermind by sacrificing everything, including his own family, rather than submit to his enemies. It's the kind of legend that would make hardened criminals check under their beds at night. Pete Postlethwaite is absolutely perfect as Kobayashi, polite, cultured, and utterly terrifying. He delivers threats like dinner invitations and makes extortion sound like a business proposal. The man could probably convince you to rob your own mother and make you thank him for the opportunity. The San Pedro job is supposed to be straightforward. Board the ship, kill some Argentinian drug dealers, steal their money, and destroy their cocaine shipment. What could possibly go wrong? Everything, as it turns out. The ship is heavily guarded, the briefcase contains something unexpected, and Kaiser Söze himself might be on board. What follows is a bloodbath that leaves almost everyone dead and the ship in flames. This sequence is where director Bryan Singer shows his mastery of tension and chaos. The action is brutal but never gratuitous, focused but never confusing. We follow multiple characters through a maze of corridors and conflict, feeling the desperation and confusion right alongside them. The revelation about what's really in that briefcase is brilliant. It completely recontextualizes everything we thought we knew about the job. The cocaine is secondary. The real target is something far more personal and dangerous. Gabriel Byrne delivers some of his best work here as Keaton faces the impossible choice between saving himself and protecting the people he's grown to care about. The weight of his past mistakes finally catches up with him in the most brutal way possible. Back in the police station, Agent Kujan is convinced he's solved the puzzle. In his mind, Dean Keaton is Kaiser Söze, and Verbal is just a pawn being used to spread disinformation. Kujan hammers away at Verbal's story, poking holes, demanding details, getting increasingly aggressive. Stephen Baldwin absolutely nails Kujan's Kujan's arrogance here. He's so convinced of his own brilliance that he can't see the forest for the trees. Every inconsistency in Verbal's story just reinforces his belief that he's closing in on the truth. Verbal seems to be cracking under the pressure. He's sweating, stammering, contradicting himself. Kevin Spacey's performance is a work of art when it comes to misdirection. He shows us exactly what we expect to see while hiding what's really happening. The beautiful thing about these interrogation scenes is how they mirror the audience's experience. We're doing exactly what Kujan is doing, trying to piece together the truth from unreliable testimony. We're so focused on solving the puzzle that we miss the bigger picture. This is also where the movie's visual storytelling becomes essential. The camera angles, the lighting, even the way the characters are positioned. Everything reinforces our assumptions about who has power and who doesn't. And then comes the moment that changed everything. Kujan thinks he's won. He's broken Verbal down, extracted the truth, and solved the case. Verbal limps out of the police station, seemingly defeated and broken. Then Kujan sees the bulletin board. Every detail of Verbal's story, names, places, events, has been pulled from random items scattered around the office. Kobayashi porcelain, Quartet records, Guatemala, Redfoot beer. The entire elaborate narrative was improvised from whatever Verbal could see while sitting in that chair. The coffee cup hits the floor, and with it, our entire understanding of the story. Kujan realizes he's been played, but it's too late. By the time he reaches the street, Roger Verbal Kint has vanished, and in his place stands a man walking with perfect posture toward a waiting car. Kevin Spacey's transformation in this moment is absolutely stunning. With just a change in posture and expression, he becomes an entirely different person. The weak, frightened con man disappears, replaced by someone radiating quiet confidence and controlled power. How The Usual Suspects ends is pure magic. I'm impressed with how completely it reframes everything that came before. On a second viewing, you realize that Kaiser Söze wasn't hiding among the usual suspects. He was telling their story. Every detail takes on new meaning. Verbal's knowledge of police procedure, his understanding of criminal psychology, his ability to manipulate Kujan's expectations. It all makes perfect sense once you know who he really is. The movie becomes a completely different experience when you know the truth. You start noticing the moments where the mask slips, the subtle inconsistencies in Verbal's performance, the way he guides the conversation without seeming to. Christopher McQuarrie's script is surgical in its precision. Every line serves multiple purposes, advancing the plot, developing character, and hiding the truth in plain sight. It's the kind of writing that makes other screenwriters weep with envy. Bryan Singer's direction deserves equal praise. He shoots the entire film like a magic trick, using misdirection and sleight of hand to guide our attention where he wants it to go. We see exactly what we're meant to see, nothing more and nothing less. The real brilliance of The Usual Suspects is that it commits the perfect crime against its audience. We're not just watching a con job, we're the marks being conned. Roger Ebert called it a triumph of style over substance, but I think that misses the point. The style is the substance. The way the story is told is what makes it special, not just what the story contains. Do you think any part of Verbal's story was true, or was every single detail fabricated? The ambiguity is part of what makes this film so endlessly rewatchable, but I'd love to hear your theory. Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you're hungry for more films that completely reinvent themselves in the final act, you're going to love my next analysis into another movie that dared to lie to its audience from frame one. Make sure you're subscribed because we're just getting started with cinema's greatest deceptions.